Doma Sports Talk Worldwide with some news from the world of boxing. So y'all know what time it is. You ain't in a rush to get concussed, baby. Now, in that 118-pound division, you got Naoya Inoue, right? And the boy's bad. I'm gonna give him props because he's 23-0 with 20 KOs. That's one thing. He fights. He has a spectacular style and he's the goods. And anybody who's in a Super Six tournament, a WBSS tournament, is a good fighter, right? Most of the times, a lot of guys won't even get in tournaments like that. So he won that tournament, and we don't really know all the people he fought, but he's knocked most of them out spectacularly in most of the cases. So the only thing that's up is the dude is in some people's pound for pound list at number one. And he has three belts. And he's number one pound for pound in some people's pound for pound list. And that's absurd, right? He shouldn't be number one. He should be in the pound for pound list, but he shouldn't even be number two either. Not yet. Because if a unified champion is supposed to be in the pound for pound, then we'd have to have why the hell has Jamel Charlo not been in there forever? He has three belts forever. Now he's even undisputed. We got people that got all four belts, and they're not in there. Now, leads me to tell you what Naoya Inoue was saying. He was saying, well, shoot, I want that last belt, the WBO belt, from your boy Paul Butler, I think, who got a vacant belt, right? English dude. Got a vacant belt. I'm going to go and get that belt. And then, I definitely should be number one pound for pound. And I proved that I'm the number one pound for pound guy. But that didn't help a Devin Haney. That didn't help a Jamel Charlo, right? Those guys are undisputed in divisions where we know the guys they beat. And the guys they beat were all real great. Now, they're trying to put Naoya Inoue at number one pound for pound because, he had a resounding win over Nonito Donaire, right? A resounding win over Nonito Donaire with he had a knockout, right, in the second round. But let's not forget, that was a rematch, right? Does anybody remember what happened in the first fight between Naoya Inoue and Nonito Donaire? Anybody? Yeah. Nonito Donaire broke the eye socket of Inoue, right? In a very, very close fight, a brawl. You know what the fight was? It was fight of the year. They don't give fight of the years for people who got dominated. So if Inoue would have dominated Donaire, it wouldn't have been a fight of the year, now wouldn't it? Fight of the year means close, back and forth, full action. That's what that was. So we had a fight of the year with Nonito Donaire about 2 years ago. That means Nonito Donaire was 37. Then he's at 39. He goes and stops him. Awesome, but not number one pound for pound worthy. Now, take you back on to memory lane. What have we got, about 7 years ago? At least, or 8, maybe even more? Remember a guy named Guillermo Rigondeaux, the one I like to call Taz, right? Guillermo Rigondeaux, smaller than Nonito Donaire, right? When Nonito Donaire had won 30 fights in a row. Nonito Donaire was actually undefeated. He was like 31 and 1. And he had lost his second fight, I think, right? And then went on to run off 30 fights, and he was number 3 pound for pound. He got his butt whooped badly by Guillermo Rigondeaux. Did he shoot up to number 1 pound for pound? I don't think so. You see what I'm saying? You know what happened to Guillermo Rigondeaux? They said it was boring, and he beat the hell out of Donaire, right? Beat the hell out of Donaire. They called that fight boring. He beat him by a landslide, right? The only why they call it boring is, well, no, it wasn't a fight of the year because Donaire wasn't hitting him like that. You see what I'm saying? One fight of the year because Guillermo Rigondeaux has defense too, right? So Inoue, his defense is not Guillermo Rigondeaux-esque, right? And so my point here is simple. Inoue is a good fighter, right? Just like a Canelo is a good fighter, but not the very best, right? You can't be at number 1 pound for pound with 3 belts because if you could, then Jamel should have been up there. He wasn't. with 3 belts. Matter of fact, with 3 belts, he didn't never see pound for pound at all, top 10 pound for pound. And he was beating, I mean, great people. Going back, and his only loss, avenging that, knocking people out, good people. And he never seen pound for pound. Now he's undisputed, and he still's not in the pound for pound. Undisputed, got all the belts in the junior middleweight division. You see what I'm saying? So no, not number one pound for pound. Inoue is good, but he's not the very best fighter. And even if he beats Paul Butler, right? Listen, Devin Haney is ruling the lightweight division, ruling, and there's some bad boys in the lightweight division, and all of them never want to fight him. So you don't go in front of those guys. So, the bottom line with the pound for pound list, though, is like I said before, there's no reason to really pay attention to them, to be honest with you, right? There's no reason to really pay attention to them because they just really egregious to say that, say it nicely, you know what I'm saying? It's not really the truth, right? And people are just coming up with it. We know when it's just an ESPN list or a Ring Magazine list, hey, you know what time it is. So, Inoue, I like the dude. I hate to even say these kind of things. I like him. Who ain't gonna watch Inoue? Inoue gonna kick somebody's butt. But he's just not the very best fighter because if he was, he has to be behind the people who have 4 belts, all of them already, right? It's like, hey, can you go and beat Butler so we can put you up there? No, he's got to go behind Haney. He's got to go behind Jermell Charlo because they got 4 belts, right? And Canelo, he don't need to be 4th. Right? The 4th best fighter is not getting landslide beat by a dude that weighs the same as he do if they walking around. I guarantee you if Canelo and Bivol weighed on the night they fought, I guarantee you Bivol wasn't 15 pounds heavier than him. Bivol maybe, if anything, if Bivol probably wasn't heavier than him at all, but it definitely wasn't more than 5 pounds. I guarantee you nobody can find out what the weight was on them nights, right? Because they probably hiding it. It's probably hard as hell to find the damn weights on the night of Canelo versus Bivol because they probably weighed the same. So let's just stop with the shenanigans, y'all. You know what I'm saying? I'm tired, man. I'm going to take it on in. Listen, Inoue is bad, but he's not number one pound for pound. Not even if he beats Butler. When he goes up there at 122 and deals with Fulton and them boys, then we could probably talk something. We'll see what happens. Doma Sports Talk Worldwide. And I'm up out of here, y'all.